एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि 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 बोलो, हरि 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 बोलो। भव सिंधु पार कर लो, भव सिंधु पार कर लो। हरि 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 बोलो, हरि 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 बोलो। भव सिंधु पार कर लो, भव सिंधु पार कर लो। ब्रह्मानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। ब्रह्मानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता। हरि गुरु ज्ञान दाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञान दाता। हरि पिता हरि माता, हरि पिता हरि माता। हरि गुरु ज्ञान दाता, हरि गुरु ज्ञान दाता। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। चिदानंद रूप हरि पतित पावन, हरि एक बार हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक बार हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, हरि बोल। मन एक बार हरि बोल, मन एक।
सहना भवतु, सहनौ भुनक्तु, सह वीर्यं करवावहै, तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Do I see new faces today, or new names at least today? If you're new to the class, then what we're studying today is Vedanta Treatise. book on the Vedanta philosophy, which I guess is one of the classics of um, of the philosophy, in the sense that it has the complete Vedanta philosophy in it. So we are in the second part of the book where we're studying the human composition. We're studying about ourselves. Eventually, what is philosophy or what is religiosity? It is the search for identity. So who are you? What are you? What are you composed of? If you don't know yourself, then what exactly do you think you're doing over here? Because remember, on our understanding of ourselves, on whatever we believe to be our identity, based on that is our relationship with the world. So if we're not very clear about what the identity is in the very first place, then our relationship with the world is what should I say, a little questionable. That's where we make all our mistakes. So you can understand it clearly. How does this work? Imagine if you came into this class believing that you are a great scholar of Vedanta. How would you deal with this class? If you came into this class believing that you were a novice in Vedanta, how would you deal? If you came into this class believing you were a celebrity, what would be your way? If you came into this class because you had a problem, what would be your way? Jacob, I can't see you anyway, but is this a lecture or a dialogue? It is largely a lecture. Okay, I can see you more now. It is largely a lecture and questions we can take up, but it is largely a lecture. So when we have a good sense of our own identity, when we have a good sense of who we really are, it includes understanding what we are doing with our life. Because only when you know who you are, can you form any comprehension of what you're doing with yourself. It's like only once you know this is a washing machine, can you decide what you're going to do with it. You don't know what it is, how you're going to decide what you're going to do with it. So we have been studying with the technical way in which Vedanta puts it, which is the Panchakosha. That's where we were, right? So what have we done so far? We've done the food sheet. If you have the book, here is the picture. Yes, the bundle of memory is who you think you are. That refers to your ego. But we divide it out even further and make it into 5 things. The first thing is the Annamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha means the physical, body. It's called Annamaya. Annamaya means full of food. Full of food because it is made of food. It exists because of food, and it will eventually end up as food for somebody else. So Annamaya Kosha. Then closer within is the Pranamaya Kosha. Pranamaya Kosha is the vital air sheath. It is related to our breathing. That is why you have things like Pranayama, control of breath. Now, what's so important about that is it controls our physiological functions. Like every function in our body takes place because of the air we breathe. All these chemical reactions that take place in our body are held together. They happen because of the air we breathe. So what all does is influence? It influences prana, perception. It influences excretion. It influences digestion, circulation, and thought absorption. Jacob, we don't normally put things on the chat unless there's a question. It just distracts everybody from what is going on. So unless you have a question, I thought there's no reason to put something there. Okay, so we have a vital air sheath, which is made up of 5 things, which is perception, means all the stimuli we're taking in, excretion, everything we give out, digestion, how it all is absorbed by our system, and then later on how it's all circulated in our system, and finally is thought absorption. Thought absorption is the one we should really be concerned about, because as we grow older in life and our prana is reduced, our capacity to take in information dramatically reduces. What we already know forms a huge barrier in taking everything in. So the prana itself is reduced. It's like even if you choose to keep yourself open, as you're older, it is very difficult to take something in. But if you choose not to keep yourself open, then you might as well give up. Because it's so difficult to take something in. It's always about what I know. It is not about what I am yet to know. So as we keep doing that, we stagnate where we are. We can't absorb anymore. That is why you find the older a person goes, the more he goes on repeating whatever he has to say. He'll tell you the same stories, he'll tell you the same philosophy also. It's the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, okay, got your point. Can we move on? No, same thing he has to tell you over and over and over and over and over again ad nauseum. That this capacity to not take in information is also what causes what is popularly known as the generation gap. The kids, they take in everything very fast. All the new things they know everything about. But the old people are still telling us what happened half a century ago. It's okay, Baba, whatever happened, happened. Now can we move forward? That is why it is very difficult for, what is it Shakespeare says, for old, for youth and crabbed age to live together. Very difficult. In fact, Khalil Gibran goes so far as to say, don't try to teach your children, learn from them. You are merely the bow from where this arrow has been set. The job of the bow is to release the arrow, not hold on to it. So let that arrow fly in its way. Yesterday also I was talking to somebody. He's one of the biggest businessmen in the country. And I was in fact telling him to come along and help us. And he was talking about how what he is doing right now is trying to, what should I say, make sure that everything is going to be divided properly in the next generation. Divided means that they all continue to run. The brothers ran it together, and now they want to fix the systems and the methods so that the next generation will also be able to run it together. And the challenges on that, because obviously the next generation wants to do different things. It's not so easy to sort of let go. You feel you have all the experience, you feel you have all the knowledge, you feel what does the kid know? And actually the kids may know more than us. It is quite difficult. It's difficult to know where to draw the line between allowing something new and not letting go all the learnings of the past. You know, it's so strange. Many years ago, because Mr. Santok is into IT, many years ago, he told us that this is all silly about going and taking classes and all. It should all be online. And And so he made some attempt to have online classes, which were not attended at all. Nobody came to the online class. So then we gave up the idea. Then in December 2019 or so, Mahesh brought up this idea again that let us, Jacob, would you please stop putting things on the chat because it's really distracting and it's got nothing to do with the point that we are currently talking of over here. So in 2019,
I thought you said it was okay to ask questions.
Yes, it was. But first,
Now it's not
listen,
okay?
now since you are new to it, why don't you just see? Because now we are on a particular point. So let's deal with this point. So 2019, again, Mahesh said, let us do it online. And we started doing it online. Again, nobody came to the classes. And then by 2020, you know what happened, right? The whole environment, the whole situation, everything just changed. And everything became online. Now, in 2019, December, when Mahesh was very keen that we should start doing something online, what did we all tell him? We told him we've tried it before. Farokh has been telling us for years, we have tried it. It doesn't work. It will not work. We started doing it. It didn't work. But when March came, we continued to do, we continued just because we know about pranas. We know how the past sort of stops us from progressing. We know about this. So we said, okay, new idea, we are going to implement it and see. So we did it December. The result was what it was. January, no result. February, no result. March, also no result. And then suddenly everything changed. So you can see how the prana, which you understand the subject, how much it can benefit you. Just keep yourself open, regardless of what you have learned in the past. Keep yourself open. You don't know how that's going to, what should I say, how that's going to turn out. So easy, no, to say, and many people did say that we've done this before, it's never going to work. But it turned out fortuitous. So be warned about this. People will tell us different things. Now, each one of us has some past. People will tell us different things. It is our tendency to accept what we think is right and reject what other people think is right. When that happens, know that what? Are you all listening or not? Know what? And not a single person was listening in class. What's going on here?
You have become old.
The known.
You have become old means the pranas are playing up over here.
Yes.
The pranas are playing up. You're not able to take in anything. The difficulty always, yes, Kalyan Kumar.
Yeah, as long as you know, you can't listen.
That's
so
right.
If you know, you can't listen.
That's right. And it's not just in your belief of your knowing, your very capacity to take in information has come down as you grow older, as all of us grow older. So if you can remember that at all times, then at least you will be willing to question whether what I'm saying is making sense or not. Even that is a big step forward in philosophy. Am I making sense? Am I sticking to the past? So when we say, basically when we say that the pranas are going low, everybody will say, yes, of course, pranas are going low. But we don't convert that into an actual fact of our life. That means if someone gives us another opinion, we are likely to just reject it. All these newfangled things. You're making a mistake. You're making a big mistake. But let that person do this his way. So easy for us to sit back and tell everybody how wrong they are. And then what happens to such people? They sit back, tell everybody how wrong they are, and they don't progress. So that's sad, right? So why not we be aware? Now, since prana start deteriorating pretty fast, it's not like, oh, but I'm not 80-year-old. No, who knows what is the condition inside? None of us know what is the condition inside. So, very important philosophical point also that we must learn out of this is we must not treat our philosophical studies as a collection of information, but actually see how our life is changing because of it. And that change is constant. So, clear about vital air sheath? When you're young, it is very sharp. As you grow older, it deteriorates. So your eyes deteriorate, your hearing deteriorates, everything starts deteriorating. Importantly, our thought absorption also deteriorates. Digestion reduces. You start saying things like how heavy this food is. A child youngsters, can you see how much they eat? They don't after eating say, oh, I'm so full, I'm so heavy. They don't talk like that. But the older people, they eat little bit also. They, oh, I'm so full, I'm stuffed. All deteriorate. Then we come to the mental sheath. We did mental and intellectual sheath, isn't it?
Sanchiti, which topic are you referring to here? We are over here, what Tomkar is showing.
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, we were on this chart. Oh, I'm so sorry. Nobody told me. Thank you. Thank you, Bharat. Okay, so sorry. So we were on perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker. And the physical, emotional, intellectual personality. And what is behind that personality is the Atman. Oh, I'm mixing classes, am I not? Okay, so what is behind it all is the Atman. You all remember about perceiver, actor, feeler, thinker, right?
Yes, Jan.
Priya, yes, we'll do mental and intellectual. It's coming a few pages down. We'll skip that when we come to it because we already did it. Okay, so let's do the Atman is a, who will read this paragraph?
I will.
Please do.
The Atman is simply a homogeneous mass of pure consciousness, the same in all beings, immaculate, unconditioned. Yet it appears conditioned by the material equipments. Functioning through the body, mind, and intellect, it becomes the conditioned consciousness, the human being. Nevertheless, the immaculate Atman is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. Like the sun above, whose rays are all-powerful, all-pervading, the sun above is singular, untamed, unconditioned, but it reflections are manifold in the numerous reflecting media. It appears tainted, conditioned by the properties of the media. The sun seen through a blue mirror appears blue. Through a dirty mirror, dirty. Through a broken mirror, broken. Similarly, the Supreme Self that you are appears tainted, restrained by the limitations of the equipments through which it functions and becomes the limited, restricted human being. The summary, the Atman is the same in all beings. It is an immaculate and unconditioned mass of pure consciousness, but functioning through the body, mind, and intellect, it becomes a conditioned consciousness, the human being. Like the sun, the self seems tainted due to its reflections seen through different forms and becomes a limited, restricted human being.
Very good. So basically, what is that search of identity? We are that Atman. We are that unknown, unseen, unheard, unsung Atman. Is the Atman activated in daily life? Atman is never activated. The body, mind, and intellect are activated. The Atman is the inactive principle. It is the same, homogeneous, absolutely the same in all of us. So our search for identity.
No, what I mean is it manifesting in daily life? So
No.
for example, the Atman,
No.
what?
No manifestation whatsoever.
It's not manifesting.
No.
So it's essentially not there then.
That's not true. Anything that's not manifesting in your room now, maybe electricity, maybe your light is not on.
It's not turned on.
Right.
That's what I meant by activated.
Yeah.
See, most people have mental afflictions, and I'm wondering, the mental afflictions that people have, is that coming from the Atman or something else?
No, it is mental. That's why you're calling it mental. It's a mental affliction. You can have a
Okay, so
physical
then
affliction.
what will awaken the Atman so that the mental holds to its place? So the Atman is the controller, the ruler.
The Atman is never going to be the controller or the ruler. But you can use the thought of the Atman to control your life.
No, not the thought of the Atman, but I mean, the Atman is not thought, is it?
No. It's
No.
beyond
So
thought.
it's beyond thought. So what I'm saying is, what will make it operate in daily life?
It won't.
Oh, it won't.
Never.
So are you saying then that the human being is trapped in mental afflictions then?
No. The human
Ca-
being can release himself or herself from his afflictions
While
by,
in the body, on the earth, while going to work, while going to school, 24/7, once and for all, now and forever?
yes, you can, but there's a methodology which
And
we're coming to.
the children are ready at the earliest age to be set free.
No.
And does it have anything to do with time? Does it take time? Does it take effort? Does it involve
Yeah, 1 second.
choice?
Go step by step. By the time I finished one answer, you've gone to another thing. Let's
Well,
go
they're all
step by step.
interconnected.
Yeah, everything is connected, but we must go step by step. Firstly, the Atman is never activated. You can activate.
You already said that.
Yes. So if you let me finish, I'll tell you everything I'm trying to say.
Go ahead.
You can activate the art. You can activate your life with the thought of the Atman. The moment
Yeah, but that's still thought.
That's still thought, correct.
Yeah, that's still thought.
That's still thought. But
Thought is limited.
Yes.
Whatever thought does is limited. Limited action brings about conflict, violence, and suffering.
Right, but please listen. Yes, it is limited. Nobody's denying it. However, a limited thing will remove a limited thing. For instance, if you are in a dark room right now and you want to bring the sun in, the sun is inactive. You have put a limited roof over your head. With your limited efforts, you can remove that limited roof. The sun, which was always there, will become available to you. So
how long does it take?
It depends on how thick your roof is.
So
How
it takes
long?
time. Are you saying it takes time?
Yes, it takes time and it takes.
So you're saying that time, because the Atman is the timeless. You're saying that time will give birth to the timeless?
No. See the example again. The sun is already there. It was always there. You in time put up a roof.
Who is you?
Jacob.
Put up the roof.
Jacob.
All that is Jacob.
Jacob, yes.
Is there actually a roof, or there's just an illusion that there's a roof?
We cannot cover all of Vedanta in a conversation. Let us go step by step. What is this paragraph talking about? This paragraph is only saying that there is a homogeneous principle in all of us. Let's go with the text. No, let's not rush and complete the whole book. If you want to study about illusions, it's at the end of the book. We're not doing it now. At the moment, all we are doing is that there is a homogeneous principle available to, which is our inherent nature, everybody's inherent nature.
Right.
However,
but it's not manifesting in daily life.
No,
So
it's
how
not.
to make it manifest now, not tomorrow, now in daily life,
There is
so that
no-
we don't waste our whole life. What
well,
will
I
do it?
already
What is the
answered
one
that.
action that if we all do it now, will set us free?
There is
And
no-
therefore the light will shine.
There is no such thing.
Or you believe there's no such thing.
That's correct. There is
A
no
belief
such
can be
thing.
true and a belief can be false.
Of
So can
course.
we find out the truth of it?
No, we are not doing that right now. We are right now studying a text. And we are just understanding what this text says. This text says that there is an Atman, which is a homogeneous principle in each one of us. And yet each one of us appears so different. Momita is different from Usha, who's different from Milan, who's different from Anita, who's different from Bhumi. We are all so different. If all of us are the same inherent homogeneous principle, why are we so different? So it gives a beautiful example to understand that. The example of a sun. The sun above is the same. But when those rays fall on a blue mirror, it appears blue. When those rays fall on what should I say, on corrugated sort of thing, on moving waters, the rays become different. Wherever, if it falls in a puddle, it's different. If it falls in the mighty ocean, it's different. If it falls on a brick wall, everywhere it's different. So similarly, you and I and all of us are unique, are different. But the one thing which is common is that Atman, like the sun is common. Now, when you see that reflected mirror, that reflected light, we call that an individuality. But when you look at the sun, then there is no individuality. There's only the sun and its light. So, in some sense, all the light is the same. In some sense, the light is. But the difference comes because of the equipment. Okay, this paragraph is clear. That unconditioned sun appears to be conditioned when it manifests through the equipment. Who will read the next paragraph?
Janaki,
Yes, please do, Deepraj.
before we go on to the next paragraph, can I
Okay.
ask a technical question? Because every time people talk about God or Atman, they always bring out omniscient, right? So it's like the state of knowing everything. But that involves an action, but the Atman does not perform any action. So like, I don't really understand like how that exists.
Yeah, very good. It is a little difficult concept, so you'll have to pay attention, though it is a little off the topic. I'm going to take it because we didn't mention the word omniscient. Okay, so what is omniscient? Omniscient means all knowledge. Omniscient means all knowledge. What is knowledge? When pure Omkar, do you have that picture of what is knowledge? Can you draw us a picture? Can you draw a trough of water? Yeah, can you draw that? You know that picture? You know which one I'm referring to? Draw a trough of water, okay, like that, like that, like that. Just a trough of water, like a basin of water, into one line like that, one line like that, and one line like that.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay.
Something like this?
Yeah, fine. Okay, so now very good. Now in your trough of water, can you, okay, let's assume that top line is the line of water, okay? So can you bring your image a little lower? Yeah, thanks. Now, can you draw a line, like a ray of a line hitting that top line of yours, and then like a V form? Yeah. Yeah, and on the other side. Correct. Now, this line on the left, can you write the word ray of light? Can you put words now or not?
Yes.
Okay, so put the word array. Okay, array. It's a ray of light. This is a normal physics thing. You know that V has to be perfect, but I'm sure if you have studied physics, you know this a ray of light. This is a ray of light. Okay. Now this ray of light, it hits water, that line, and then the next line is reflected light. Can you write reflected light? Okay, is this clear, Deepraj? We are good so far. There's a trough
Yes.
of water.
Yes.
There's a ray of light that hits that trough of water, and then there's a reflected light, the reflected image, whatever the image is. Right? So this is a normal physics formula, except that you know that it has to be equal, right? As the light hits, it has to. Okay, so now under ray of light, Omkar, please write pure consciousness. Capital C. And under reflected light, write I know. Okay, now in that trough of water, write the word thoughts. Or if you can't write it inside, write it outside. And draw a line. Just write the word thoughts, because this water over here.
Yeah, Uttara is doing that.
Oh, Uttara is doing that. Oh, okay. All right, cool. So you all know this diagram. Most of you all have studied it already in class. So a ray of light hits water and it becomes the reflected image. Now, the same thing happens in knowledge. There is pure consciousness. It, in combination with thoughts, brings about the feeling, I know. You say, I know my name is Deepraj, for instance. So how does this knowledge, I know, come about? It is the combination of pure consciousness and thoughts. So pure consciousness plus thoughts gives I know is equal to I know, knowledge. Right? So for any time there has been the concept I know, There has always been pure consciousness
Pure
back
consciousness backing it. Okay, got it.
and therefore it is omniscient.
I see. Got it. Thank you. Then can read the next paragraph then.
Yes, read the next paragraph.
The Atman, the pure consciousness functioning thus through the body, becomes conscious of perception and action. So the mind becomes conscious of emotions, and through the intellect becomes conscious of thought. The pure consciousness becomes conditioned by the equipments. When a spiritual seeker rises above his body, mind, and intellect, and their objects of consciousness, transcends the limitations of perception and action, emotion and thought, the conditioning ceases. The individuality is no more. He merges with the pure absolute consciousness. It is akin to phenomenon of reflection and sunlight. When the reflecting medium is removed, the reflected image disappears. What remains is the all-pervading sunlight. So the summary basically becomes is the same with the previous examples. Is that when it hits on the thoughts, since we all have different thoughts by because of the existence of the mind and the intellect, we have different thoughts. So every time the pure consciousness interacts with the thoughts, it creates a different image. And that gives us the perception that there are different individualities. But what it actually is the actual Atman. And that is the source of everything. And it's just the reflection that is giving us this perception that there's different individual beings when it's all the same in essence. That's right.
So pure consciousness becomes conditioned consciousness by the addition of the word off. So pure consciousness is pure consciousness. There's no off of anything. But when you become conscious of, that's your thoughts. So if I say but we can't understand pure consciousness because you don't understand the concept of being conscious without a thought. Conscious means knowledge, awareness, whatever word you want to use. So when you say, if I ask you, are you conscious? Are you aware? Do you know? Your automatic question will be, do I know what? Am I conscious of what? Am I aware of what? And I say, are you aware of what Veer Das said in America? Then you can say, yes, I'm aware, or no, I'm not aware. But unless I tell you conscious of what, or aware of what, or knowledge of what, you can't answer that. The only consciousness we know is the consciousness of. We can never know pure consciousness. Because if I say, I know pure consciousness, what does it mean? I am aware of pure consciousness. You can't be aware of pure consciousness, right? You put an off over there.
So, can give one question. So, right now we are conditioned by what?
Thoughts.
Thoughts. Vasana, we cannot say vasanas. Ultimately, to vasanas.
Ultimately, vasanas. The vasanas is in the unmanifest form.
Yeah.
So, your conditioning will be thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
So, we can only be aware of, we are aware of the body and its perceptions. We are aware of the mind and its emotions. We are aware of the intellect and its thoughts. But we cannot be aware of Atman. It can't be. Because when you say I'm aware of Atman, it automatically becomes
Conditioned.
yes. Therefore, you say you're right. Can you say another word?
The Atman becomes limited by the thought of
Thought. Correct. You're saying I'm aware of Atman. That means you have made Atman into a thought. But Atman is that which enables you to have the thought. It is not the thought. Now you understand, we've often said this, that you cannot know the Atman, you cannot know the self through intellect. Because the intellect is only capable of dealing with thoughts. Thoughts are always of something. So your thought of the Atman is not the Atman. Atman is beyond it.
Janki, that you know, you can see everything through telescope, but not your eye.
That's right. So pure consciousness gives you the ability to be conscious of. And when you become conscious of, then that is your individuality. When the off goes away, what remains is the Atma.
Madam, which are the different factors that contribute to our intellect?
What are the different factors? Means your knowledge contributes to your intellect. Your thoughts contribute to your thoughts. Are you new, Sumit? Am I saying this name for the first time?
Yeah, I'm new. I just joined. I'm new. I'm new to this.
New to Vedanta, new to this class, new to Gita, what?
No, I'm not new to yoga, ma'am. I'm associated with our Guru Y. Chalapati Rao Garu since long. And I'm new to this club Vedanta as well. Yeah.
So I hope it's clear because today it's a slightly abstruse topic. So I hope it's clear. If any part of what is said is not clear, please feel free to ask. And if it's not clear.
Definitely. Yes, definitely, ma'am. Thank you.
So the Atman within all of us is exactly the same. When this Atman functions through different equipments, we become conscious of different things. When it functions through the body, we are conscious of perception and action. When it functions through the mind, we are conscious of emotion. When it functions through the intellect, we are conscious of thoughts. When you're able to remove that barrier, what remains is the Atma. That is called enlightenment. It is called moksha. It is called whatever. Yoga. It is called the union with God. Whatever. These are just different terminologies. Different ways that different prophets and different sages, and different wise men and different philosophers have called it. Once you understand the basic idea, you will be able to revel in all the beautiful ways in which people have put it. Each one has put it beautifully. Each one has expressed it through his particular medium. But what he has expressed was that. So you learn to see the beauty of it all when you understand it. And that's what the Gita says also, if you remember. Rishibhi Bahudha Gitam. The rishis have sung of this in various ways, in different chandas. And even Christ says that men will come and speak of this in many tongues. And many prophets have said, I've not been the first and I won't be the last. But we will get stuck somewhere. Instead of understanding the truth, we will say, this person alone. Like, come on, grow up. So, is this clear? So when there is a all-pervading sunlight and there is a reflecting medium, you see a particular type of sunlight. If you were to remove the medium, what remains is sunlight. It's really that. Yeah. Now, how did this medium come about? Is always a question that everybody has. So let's do the next paragraph. How did it come about and how is it going to leave us? Who will read the next?
I can read.
Please go ahead, Jyoti.
The conditioning of the pure consciousness is brought about by your unintelligent identification and attachment to your body, mind, and intellect. Your focus of attention has long remained in the realms of these equipments. Consequently, you are held a hostage of your perception and action, emotion and thought. You can free yourself from this bondage and regain your supreme self through the 3 spiritual disciplines. Karma Yoga, path of action for the body. Bhakti Yoga, path of devotion for the mind. Jnana Yoga, path of knowledge for the intellect.
Continue, Jyoti.
These spiritual practices are programmed to reach you to the goal of self-realization, the state of pure consciousness, the abode of absolute peace and bliss. The disciplines enable you to control and direct your equipments to tread the spiritual path. Use your intellect to guide the mind, senses, and body to the ultimate destination. If the intellect is not alert, the mind goes out of control, the senses run amok, and the body perishes. Do I continue? Or do I stop here?
That's enough. Thank you. Now I can summarize.
So the conditioning of the pure consciousness is due to our identification with our body, mind, intellect. And so our focus is only on that. And so if we are able to change our focus or remove our focus from our body, mind, intellect, then we can free ourselves from this bondage. And the way to do it is through the path of Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. And these spiritual practices are programmed for you to reach self-realization, the state of pure consciousness. If you use your intellect to guide your mind and senses and body, then you can reach your goal.
Okay. So, 3 important ideas we have in this. First idea is that, number 1, how did this come about? So, what's the answer to that?
Identification with the BMI.
Yes, one word you missed, Bharat.
Conditioning.
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 That is the consequence. Which is the word that Bharat missed?
Unintelligent.
Attachment.
Intelligent.
Unintelligent.
Unintelligent. Unintelligent focus of attention on the body, mind, and it. Unintelligent. What is unintelligent? Your intellect is not working. There is this person I know, very nice person, very sweet, very virtuous also. She's always willing to help people and all. But she has a single focus of her life. Food. First it used to be just food. Nowadays she has progressed to healthy food and vegan and the whole plant-based diet. The whole thing, you can't have a conversation with her without getting a lecture on it. Some people are like that about philosophy. You can't talk to them without getting a lecture on it until everybody runs away from them. Why are you just spouting out stuff? It comes because of an unintelligent identification with some equipment. Sometimes it is people who are grumbling about their lives. Whatever reason. I've got a very funny forward today, which is philosophically interesting. I should send it to you all also. There's a man who says that how did he start? He said, somebody says, how is your life? He said, oh, my life is great. I get up in the morning and I make superb tea. And then I always make extra. So I give it to my wife as well. So I make superb tea. Then what do? Then fatafat I do jhadu pocha, I have a bath, I make breakfast, and I give my wife also, and then I go to work. And then I work in thing, and then I come home in the evening, and I can't have anybody else's tea. So I come home in the evening, I make tea, then I go for my walk, and on the way I purchase all the vegetables and all the groceries, and then I come home, and then my wife, she's been working in the home all day, so I fatafat make fantastic dinner, and then do char bartan hote hai, a few vessels, I wash all that, and then we go to sleep. Now the way he's saying it, is very funny, but the thing that he's saying is, you could say exactly the same thing. Oh, my wife is so horrible. She doesn't do any work at home. I have to get up in the morning, and I have to make tea, and then I have to do jhadu pocha, and then I have to make our breakfast. And, it's very interesting. Really very interesting. How are you reporting your life? What are you saying is going on? There is one person I know. There's all these stories I'm telling you. One person I know. One girl, one young boy, not even young, he's like 30 or something. So he was interested in some girl. Now that girl, according to him, sort of led him on, made him think that they would. And so he asked her, will you go out with me, or whatever it is these kids ask one another. And then that girl told him that, no, I'm not interested. This is the situation. This happened 2 years ago. He's still sitting down and crying about it. Oh, she said this to me. How could she insult me like that? So many worse things happen. Like, you can't tell anybody that, because who's suffering is suffering. So many things happen. When a girl said something to you, and it's okay. But no, everything else may be okay in your life, but that person insulted me, and I'm never going to forget. So how are you reporting your life? Whatever way you're reporting your life shows us
how
the amount of
intelligent we are.
unintelligent.
State of your mind.
How intelligent we are.
No, say the whole thing. Yeah, say the whole thing. What is it telling us? When you tell us about your life, when anyone tells you about their life, they're telling you about
How intelligent they are.
How they identify.
What they identify with.
Say the full sentence. No, everyone is saying only one part of it. Say the full thing.
How they identify with their body, mind, and everything.
Don't say how. Say the right word.
The unintelligent way in which they identify with body, mind, and everything.
Their unintelligent identification. Whatever way they report it, it's unintelligent identification. Why are we saying whatever way they report it, it's unintelligent identification? Sounds mean, no? Anyway, it's unintelligent. Because if you were intelligent, you'd keep your thoughts on God. Why are you thinking of anything else? As the Upanishad says, resist all other thought. Don't talk only. Desist from all other talk, he says. Why are you talking of anything else? Now, then that goes to our next unintelligent identification, is you start talking about the self. Oh, the self is this, the self is that. Keep quiet. Who's asked you? So he says, desist from all other talk. Just don't talk about it. So you can get obsessed with anything, with your children, with your problems, with your spirituality, with anything. The human ability for unintelligent identification is only matched by their ability for unintelligent identification. That ability is fantastic. Praise Islam. So, what is unintelligent identification? Milind, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. Ankiji, what is the reason for solid attachment to family, children, money, fame, name, whatnot?
You already know. Everybody in the class will tell you. What is the reason?
Ignorance of the self.
Just now we did. Nobody listens. Unnecessarily I speak.
unintelligent identification.
Very good. Because of, don't say unintelligent identification, only one word is required here. Because of our
Ignorance.
Identity.
Because of our
thoughts,
Ignorance.
one word, which we just spoken about. Yes, Poonam, very good. Poonam, I haven't heard you speaking a lot, but correct. Because of the lack of intellect, because of the absence of intelligence, the non-intelligence. You got it right. All you said is too much. Why did that attachment come about? Non-intelligence. If you had any brains, you would not let yourself get attached. Why would you not let yourself get attached? For two reasons. To attach yourself means to go and stick yourself to something when both you are changing and that is changing and you go stick yourself to it, you're going to be torn apart. What else will happen? What are you expecting will happen? That my son, the lady, oh my child, she was so obsessed with her son that when he used to go to school, she used to go and sit on the back bench and look after him. Didn't even let him go to school on his own. And what happens? You have two results out of this, two possible results. A, if he's a passive person, he will become like a vegetable, which this poor boy has become. Or two, if he's an aggressive person, he will rip himself apart and go. What are you doing it for? Why don't you have a good relationship with your child, which you will do only to the extent that you're not attached? To the extent you tell your child, you support your child, you encourage your child, you let your child go his way, do his thing. And you'll have a good relationship. No, my child, don't go, I can't live without you. Pagal hai kya? It doesn't work because both are moving. You are a moving entity, child is a moving entity. So if we get attached to anything, we cling on to something. It's just our foolishness. That doesn't mean marriage is foolish, or or having children is foolish, or making money is foolish, or being healthy is foolish. Doesn't mean any of that. It's only talking of an unintelligent attachment. So what is attachment? Attachment is when your thoughts go without the guidance of your intellect. So if your intellect was guiding the thoughts, what would you do? You would guide your body towards karma yoga. You would guide your mind towards bhakti yoga, and you'll guide your intellect to the self. The intellect will guide all of it. And that is called intelligence. What can be simpler in life? So basically, you think carefully what is important in life and direct yourself towards it. When you do it blindly, means you never even considered whether it's something worth pursuing or not, and you let the mind go, then you get attached. If you consider very carefully with the help of knowledge and then go in that direction, then you would be a progressive person. Progress as a human being, progress in the world, progress in. Okay, so that's it for today.